everyone. Welcome to People, Planet, and Profit. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited today to be here with my very good friend, Julie O'Brien. Here at People, Planet, and Profit, I get to have incredible conversations with people I love and respect and know, colleagues and folks that have inspired me. And all of these people are working to create sustainable jobs, to create companies that are also sustainable and give back to the earth and that nourish communities that help us, as Julie will say, shine from the inside out. And it's not easy running a triple bottom line company today. In fact, I don't think it's ever been more challenging. So how do you inspire yourself every day to lead a team, create products that really make people healthier than they've ever been, and all the while work to bring it to market and keep it on shelf and keep it fresh? Well, today we're going to learn a lot from Julie O'Brien. She is the CEO and founder of Firefly Kitchens, coming to us live from her kitchen in Ballard up in Seattle, a place where I've gotten to call home twice as I got incredible opportunities to run both quality food centers and later PCC community markets. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Julie. And Julie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here and share these foods that I love so much.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate your time. So before I kind of nerd out, because you know me, and we have these conversations, and I talk to you, and I'm going to really want all of our listeners and today to come away with understanding a bit more about gut health and why that matters than they ever thought they needed to know. But before we do that, please take a couple of minutes. I'd love to hear a bit of your introduction, your origin story, because Firefly, I think this coming January is going to be 15 years old, isn't it?
15 years. So feels like it's been 20, but for a lifetime. But, basically it all started about 18 years ago. I was in a nutritional therapy training. I was at that next phase in my life. I was 40. I was like, needed something and I wasn't quite sure what, but in the end, I know what it is community and food. And I mean, there's a big picture that all comes together. But I was in a nutrition course where we were being trained to sell supplements and help people have a more holistic way of eating. And so I remember the very first day of class, I was reading a book called Nourishing Traditions. And there were 4 little pages in there that talked about these traditional foods from around the world that were loaded with probiotics. And 18 years ago, probiotics weren't really a buzzword, but I'm sitting in class. My dad is at the same time going through traditional cancer treatment for colon cancer. And I remember thinking, wow, if these foods are that good for you and they've been around forever, how come they're not everywhere? How come doctors aren't prescribing these? How come it's not available? Because what the trick was, or the catch was, unpasteurized sauerkraut. And so I would say probably 18 years ago, 99.9% of the kraut made in this country was all pasteurized. So anyway, that basically just like a light bulb went off, just saying, why this is the ultimate superfood. This is the original probiotic. How come it's not everywhere? So fast forward, I finished my nutrition class, learned a lot, but realized I wouldn't be good one-on-one with people because I would just be making kraut and giving it to them.
Yeah.
So, the journey started.
Not sustainable business model, but go ahead.
Yeah. So the journey really began at the beginning of the nutrition class because I started fermenting at home. I started with Sally's gingered carrot recipe, which is just carrots, ginger, and good quality salt. So, I'd love to just share a little bit about why these foods are as good as they are, if that's okay, or should I?
100%. But before we get to all the nutrition deep dive, because I want you to talk about the gut health and nutrition. But so just give us the end of that story. You started with it very authentically. You were interested, you took a course, your family was experiencing, your father was experiencing some health issues that you knew this would be helpful. But how do you go, for all the budding entrepreneurs out there, how do you go from idea to shelf? And kind of how did you get there? I think you've told me in the past that give me the origin story from you began to produce, and then I think Whole Foods came in and they were a big supporter.
Well, that was a little bit later down the line. So I continued to ferment that year. I would feed people. People were like, this is the real deal. This is amazing. I would share it with other people. They'd say, this is just like my grandma used to make, German friends, Polish friends, Korean friends, everybody. I just realized that these foods have been around forever and it's real food. And so we started making food, and then friends were the ones that just said, Julie, you've got to do something with this. So a year or two later, I met a gentleman and he was on the same path in his midlife, raising kids, and really wanted to do better by them and share what he had learned, how these foods had helped him. And so we got together and started geeking out, making a whole bunch of different flavors. And then we said, let's start something. Let's make this happen in Seattle. So Firefly was born in 2010. And then we started, I remember we got a 40-pound collection of kraut, or excuse me, of cabbage, and we had a big harsh crock. So we made this first batch, and out of it came 66 jars. And we looked at each other and we're like, what are we going to do with all this? We got a guy from the farmer's market and he said, you'll blow through that in one day. You got to make more. So we just started experimenting together, and then, went through all the licensing, got the business license, and really started. We had a test market where we had like 20 people over, and we shared 5 different types of the kimchi we made. So that's how we really got started. And we talked to the customers and they told us what they wanted.
I've heard other leader founders say, if you want to create something new and novel and innovative and change the world, start with your idea and then go find a friend, go find someone who shares that passion. So it sounds like you found a great partner to help you to come, bring this into a market that it could be commercially viable. And that's wonderful, and then, so and years later, I guess, so we've known each other for a while, but I've told you, and I'd love you to start talking to us a bit of some of the nutritional and the culinary aspects. But I will admit, when we were introduced, I think we were introduced by a mutual friend who was working on the Beechers Foundation. I was on the board at the time, and I was president of QFC, Quality Food Center Grocery, in Seattle. But anyway, you invited me kindly to one of your happy hours.
And we were doing fermented happy hours back then. And I remember Sarah said, you should reach out. The president of QFC is really into nutrition. And I think she helped get the employees discounts on fresh fruits and vegetables. And I was so touched by that. I'm like, this is somebody I could reach out to. I don't need 5 middle people to do that. So I just wrote you a letter, invited
you. Fantastic. But I think I've admitted this to you before, but when I drove over and pulled up, I was like, okay, I don't know what to expect, because growing up, I grew up in Texas, where I am now. The only sauerkraut I'd ever had was probably something pretty terrible in a jar from the grocery store. So I was very open-minded, but I was still a little skeptical. And oh my gosh, I think you had created at least 30 dishes that day. And I think you were also making some cocktails. But it was mind-blowing. Julie, it changed my life.
Oh, well, thank you. And, you asked earlier what keeps you going, and it's people like you and people who have said, thank you for making these foods. It's the one thing that has helped my struggle in health, or it's the one thing that makes me so excited to go into the kitchen. So I feel super motivated every day by the team, this amazing team of people I have at Firefly, making this food day in and day out. And they're so committed to the craft and the process and the care that goes into it. So I like to say we're farmers. Suzy, I like to say we take these organic vegetables and we nourish them and nurture them and put them in just the right environment. And then Mother Nature does the rest. And this is what really makes it such a sustainable, wonderful little business, is we're taking these really healthy foods that come from nature, and then we're nurturing them, and then they go out and nourish
everyone else. Well, I just brought up a photo when you were describing one of your beautiful images of a number of your products. And I think it was a potato salad that was a byproduct. It's absolutely incredible stuff. And, I've kept my cheat sheet here, my Firefly kitchens. So let's move. And as you know, I don't ever go too far without my fresh and fermented cookbook, but we'll talk about that at the end. So all the folks know where to go to get their own, but give us a rundown, please. So on the products, but maybe touch on the gut health, Julie, first, because I know that the health aspect is really what woke you up to this incredible opportunity and the need that we have. So maybe speak to some of the nutritional benefits of the crowdifying foods, of your ferment. I know you like to say fermentative medicine. So maybe teach us a little bit, please. What are the most important things that our listeners should know?
Okay, well, and I just want to mention that that's where I always get in trouble because I came to these foods through the health. I get so excited and I geek out and I just think this is like the ultimate gift, right? Because it just keeps on giving and you're putting new healthy bacteria into your body every day. So that's like the number one benefit in my mind is the probiotics and the gut health that is supporting. I read an article yesterday by someone that I respect out there in the world, and she was talking about every time you eat these foods, it's like new policemen. And I like to look at it as angels, new little, going in to really kick things into gear, to help shine the light over here and help this system, or go fight these bacteria who are, the bad bacteria who are trying to take over this part. So then just the digestive support too. Every time you eat a forkful, it's going to help you digest what you've eaten it with, which is why it's so brilliant on a burger, a burrito, a wrap. This is why traditionally so many cultures would eat it with meat,
To aid in digestion.
Pardon me?
To aid in digestion.
Absolutely. So the mental health support, I've heard from so many people, and there's so much research that for both anxiety and depression, 80% of our immune system is in our gut. And that is where serotonin and all of these positive neurotransmitters to help us survive, thrive in the world. So every time you're eating a forkful, it's going in and just letting you feel more alive. So blood sugar balance is another one that's super important for so many people, all of us, right? Because as much as we all love sugar, it's a toxin in our body. And sugar is one of those things that not only feeds bad bacteria, but we know it has all these other ramifications. So it really, people say, sometimes I go to my fridge and I want a glass of wine or I want a little something sweet. And I hear a lot of people say, I see your jar sitting there and I'll just have a forkful. And it's like the craving's gone because it's like you've switched, you've given your mouth some excitement, so there's a part of your mouth. And it's not the bad bacteria or the ones wanting you to have that sugar snack.
No, we can talk about sugar. We can talk about the blood, kind of keeping your blood sugar balanced. But you're 100% correct, because sugar actually is classified as a drug in that, and it's addictive because the more you have, the more you want to have, and the more you need to have, and you're stuck in this high and low. And to your point, the gut bacteria is perpetuating that, the bad gut bacteria. But we can put the angels in there, and we can level the playing field and make it a fair fight. I love how you say, we call it Firefly Kitchens for a reason. We're here to help you shine from the inside out. Rich in essential nutrients, vitamins, flavor, our ferments have the probiotic punch to transform how you eat and how you feel. And they're downright delicious, which is true. So let's talk about the culinary, because as you said, I've a through line throughout my entire career has been health and wellness and fitness. And how do I bring better for you foods to the market? That's how I've balanced through my grocery career. But again, when I pulled up and I went to your first happy hour, I was like, okay, let's see. But Julie, the food is what sold me. Every single dish honestly, everything tasted richer and more vibrant and
Alive. I mean,
alive. Yes.
is like every jar of kraut it's alive with living bacteria. And that is such a weird concept for so many people.
I think I'm eating bacteria.
You eat vegetables and you're just like, okay, these are plants. But you don't think about, I so often will go into not comedy, but like these little superheroes. And I think of cartoons.
Yep.
And if you kind of think about it like that, you've got all these happy little alive things going into your body that can go make you feel better, and it just brightens your food. So I like to tell chefs, what, as we're trying to sell more in the food service world, it's one thing to make really good food, but if you want people to feel better once they eat your food. So that's a plug for the benefits. But really, in educating people who eat every day, it just makes mealtime easier. It makes it fresher. You can put a forkful of plain kraut into a smoothie. Now you've got that tang and that zing, and maybe use a nut milk instead of dairy milk.
Yep.
And now you've got a probiotic smoothie, and you're getting vegetables in you in the morning. You can chop it. I always tell people changing the texture is the best way to get it into your system if you have finicky eaters or you just don't like kraut. I've talked to hundreds of people over the years who have said, I just don't like it. I just don't like the way it feels in my mouth. It's like squeaky and crunchy. And more people are just like, I just can't get enough. I love the color. I love the crunch. So changing the texture, chopping it up and mixing it with tuna fish, throwing it into a salad, blending it and then stirring it into your guacamole or your salsa. So just easy. It's just easy to think of it as that acid, like you would lemon or vinegar, but this is alive with so much more than those offer.
Yeah. So eating the right fermented foods, and maybe in a second we can walk through some of the different krauts that you're making. Let's see. So if I've learned this right, it helps us balance and lower our blood sugar. It feeds all the healthy gut bacteria and enzymes so that we digest all the food we eat more readily. It can reduce inflammation, joint inflammation and otherwise. And inflammation, as probably all of us are aware, is the number one marker for disease. I mean, that's the thing that can lead you down a stray path is inflammation in our body. It can help clarify mental wellness because your gut is connected to your brain and how we feel. And I think all of that then helps change and helps to create a path, if you will, for us to positively engage in the world. Did I stumble around too much? Or
that's great. I mean, no, that's great. And I feel like that's kind of back to all the good health benefits, all of the health benefits and why we should be eating these. But this is where I was trying to say I get into trouble because I should be just talking about how easy and how tasty and how bright and how crunchy. I chop this stuff up and put it on pizza when it comes out,
Everything's better with kraut.
Yeah.
Well, maybe show us some of your favorites, Julie, because I know it's not just cabbage. My Firefly gateway drug are the carrots. I mean, I can't get enough.
Well, I'm just going to show you, our kimchi is really the most beloved. It's vegan. So it's really, we're super inspired by traditional Korean kimchi, but we leave out the fish and the shrimp so it can be available to people on, health journeys, but it's still got a funk, and we use Korean red pepper, garlic, and ginger. And that's our number one seller. And Beecher's has been using this on their grilled cheese for like 5 years now. And so
really,
we sell in bulk 1 gallon and 5 gallons buckets as well. From that we take and make a kimchi hot sauce. And this is our kimchi blended up with some more heat. And then this is just a little diversification here, because then we take our kimchi and we freeze dry it, and then we grind it up with the dried spices that are in here. So now we have a ferment infused salt that's got probiotics in it. Now, I don't push this as a substitution for it. This is hands down better.
Yeah.
But this just makes cucumbers, it makes eggs, it makes popcorn, it makes everything just pop, because you get that umami of that month-long fermentation process in there. So we also have our carrots, which we won our first Good Food Award, and we've won 5 Good Food Awards now over the last 12 years. But these carrots, ginger and carrots, and that's it. And they're magic in a salad. They're magic with sushi, fresh wraps. I grind them up into smoothies, into date balls, carrot cake topping. I'll make a frosting, put these in there.
Yeah, you're making me so hungry.
Yeah. Then we have the good old classic kraut. And this is the one that I when I was working on my cookbook, I asked my mom to blend it up so it was like applesauce. And she comes back and she goes, "Here you go. You could market this as crapple sauce." And it is really funny. And that's what I'm just going to stop here and say one of the really number one benefits of this food is that digestive support. And I can't even tell you how often, we have conversations about poop just with customers. And a lot of potty talk at the kitchen, but it's the power of a good poop. This food is so powerful, and it's hard when you have a food that you're talking about how delicious and all of that. But one of the really big benefits is that digestive support. So
absolutely, that's where all the magic's happening. I mean, we consume food to nourish and energize our bodies, to give us the energy and the vitality and the mentality to live our lives. And I love what you're doing. And if we crowdify our foods with Firefly or another, I want you to tell us what makes Firefly so special. I mean, I sort of know the answer, but when we do that, we actually are consuming live, living food. And when you kind of put it that way, at least for me, I think, gosh, why would I want to consume dead food? Because that old trite expression, we are what we eat. And if we want to show up with energy in the world and accomplish everything we want to accomplish for ourselves and our loved ones, it starts with the forkful.
We do the slow part. So it's fast for you guys, right? So we ferment it for at least a month, and then it goes into our glass jars as it's getting into your possession. And we like to just say a forkful a day keeps the doctor away. Obviously not fully, but just as little bit, as little as a forkful can do tremendous things for your body. So I always just tell people, why not try it? It tastes damn good, and
it does damn good.
We have a lot of recipes on our website where we share how to feed finicky eaters, or just some of the easier ways to incorporate these foods into your body. The people who are health seekers and athletes and, people who are just super tuned into where their food comes from, they're an easy sell. But it's people who are like, I grew up in Alaska, and the only time I don't even think I'd ever had kraut, just because it wasn't a part of up there, maybe at a ball field, right? But when I made it that first time and pulled it out of the jar 2 weeks later, I was just blown away. And that was a flavor and experience that I'd never had before.
Awesome. Speaking of foods people love, in your cookbook, you've got this kimchi recipe. So you were chatting to me about kimchi the other day. But what an awesome idea. Talk to us about that.
So after we won our first Good Food Awards, we were going down to the Red Hook Brewery to celebrate with Pike Brewing and a wonderful jam company and Theo Chocolate. And I remember just thinking, people are going to want to eat kraut, just from talking to people over the years. I need to make something cheesy and bready. And I don't know why kimchi jumped into my mind. I popped into the market, grabbed a baguette, a brick of cream cheese, came, how sometimes when you're racing, that's when you get these bursts of inspiration. And so that's how kimchi was born. And we have the trademark for it. We've been making it for years and selling it through the farmers market. But I think this is the year to make it available far and wide.
Wonderful. Well, you've shared some of your story. We've hit on some of the health aspects, the nutrition, gut health aspects. You talked a little bit about the culinary, although I wish I could sample every single one. But talk to us now about the business a little bit, because triple bottom line, people, planet, and we've covered that, profit. What's next for the business? How are you looking to grow? I know you said you started leaning a bit into food service.
Yeah, so we're diversifying right now out of just mostly being in retail. We're focusing on food service sales. So think universities, retirement communities, professional athletes. Everybody needs and deserves these good foods. So let's get them out farther and wider. All of the people who are making prepared foods, people who are needing, support through a food bank, let's make these foods get out there farther and wider. So we were focusing on that. And then also a direct to consumer. We already are selling online through our website, but I have some ideas for some bigger and better ways to get these foods to people, because the planet piece is super important to me. These foods started with the people. Yeah. It's all about the people, the community. And I feel like almost every business decision that we make, the planet is a part of it. And we have this, I'm trying to nourish this community within all of us, which is going to nourish the larger community and the ultimate community of all of us on the planet are pretty damn important. It's just macro versus micro. So, you're
helping farmers of all sizes, local farmers, local to you. So you're nourishing that community. I know that you do a lot with Organically Grown Company. I think they're helping supply some of your cabbage. Mm-hmm. And you said, I think you
like 60 tons a year. I mean, so yeah, there's
a lot of cabbage.
Yeah.
And all of that goes right back in the community. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So with these partnerships with the stores that, like PCCs and Whole Foods and all these wonderful independent stores, they have helped us along the way, and we're working together. And then Organically Grown is helping us grow, just with these organic, the relationships with the farmers. Yeah. And then I'm really looking for this next generation leadership to help us grow as a company so we can remain sustainable and grow into the future really healthy minded, because as you know, so often companies just get too big, and then that's when things get difficult.
It gets easier that can be a little bit of a slippery slope. It's a paradox, right? Because you want to scale, the better you can scale, the more people and communities you can impact, but you've got to do it without sacrificing the ethos and the quality of the brand. Because, and just in case any of our listeners didn't catch it, the thing that makes Firefly so special is you're crowdifying, you're fermenting these foods the way that they have always been done for hundreds or thousands of years. And by using two major ingredients, one is salt and the other is thyme. And you are fermenting for minimally 30 days. Mm-hmm. And as you've taught me, I know flash pasteurization can make it happen faster, but you're giving up the whole reason.
They're killing what they often do is and so
what was the point?
A lot of these brands that you see that are coming in plastics and just read. I really think everybody should be fermenting at home, and I teach people how and love all of our recipes for our flavors are in my cookbook. But I really believe if everybody in the future hopefully will be fermenting at home because it's just so essential, and they know that now. We know that. So
interesting to have to be able to speak to a CEO founder like you. You're completely mission driven, so much so that you give everybody the recipe on how to do it themselves in their book, and you encourage that. As we wrap, people can find you. So fireflykitchens.com to order product. I think they can get my shameless cookbook plug I keep doing because I love this. It's dog-eared in here. I've used it so much. So that's where they can find that, right?
Yep, online. And then we're on social media, Instagram is Firefly Kitchen Seattle. And we love sharing ideas. We love hearing from customers. We love, I love it when people say, I have this situation. Any ideas on how to get this kid to eat it? Because we have just so many ideas, blending it, stirring it in to avocados. I have people doing that with baby food. They just, a teeny tiny little bit they'll put in, but they just see the difference, like with skin issues. It's exciting.
Yeah, Julie, I mean, it enhances the flavor of any food that you combine it with.
Yeah, I became the fairy gut mother last year. It started as a Halloween costume, but I kind of have turned into that because not only my kids, but the kids and friends, this is going on. What do you think? And it's always about the crowd or the brine. We have a lot of brine left over after, so we top off all of our jars. And then we have this extra product that is brilliant. People have been using it to heal ulcers. It's great electrolyte replenishment, post-workout. And again, just a shot in the morning or a shot into your smoothie. I mean, it's a little booster. So we have a lot.
All right. So fireflykitchens.com. Oh, just the last quick question. Any starter, should people just order like a starter kit? Like just get classic?
Kits are great, because that just gets people, it gets them interested. And I mean, we've got something for everyone, a different flavor, So.
Okay. No, it's great because, I mean, honestly, I recommend one of everything, but for sure, get the classic kraut and the carrots. And I love the shots. I love the puree idea because I live in Austin, Texas. We eat a lot of guacamole down here. So that's the easiest thing to mix.
Yeah. Hummus. I mean, hummus, even just salsa, mincing it up and throwing it in salsa. So you can be super gourmet and then freak out over it, or you can I know people who just don't like to cook and they say, I can have rice and beans and then throw a forkful of your curtido on it. And it makes it. So.
It's literally longevity. It's giving you health, vitality, and longevity.
Yeah.
Well, you always inspire me so much, Julie, and you help me shine from the inside out for all the best reasons. So thank you. Thank you so much for taking time.
Thank you, Suzy. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Take care. I'll talk to you soon, and good luck with everything.